today we are actually discussing the strategic vision for women entrepreneurs. And so I just want to show up the slide. So I just want to kick off by asking you to share, and today we want to share it in a storytelling way. When you were thinking of starting Give Realty, was it a clear plan? Did you have a clear vision? Or what is the story behind starting it? And at what point did you think about your strategic vision? Please share with us today. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hilda Nganga. And just to go straight to the question Sarah has asked, at the beginning, I honestly didn't have a clear picture. I had come straight from employment, which I had been in employment actually for 14 months. That is at Barclays Bank and at the Hub. At the Hub, I used to be a lease administrator. And to be honest, what I was looking for is the freedom that comes with being self-employed. And I went all out and I joined Robin Emerson at Legacy Realty. And it is a real estate brokerage. And from there, that's when I nurtured my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. And I remember telling her at the beginning, I'm sticking with this until I learn the art, because there was no way out for me. And so I'd say for me, what pushed me was more for the freedom. I wanted to be in a place where I'm able to make decisions around my time and to also pursue things that employment would not have allowed me. So over time, again, I've been able to just try and structure what my vision is. Still, it's an ongoing process, to be honest, because now 3.5 years in, I still can't say I've perfected it, but there are things that over time I have learned. For example, I have learned that when you go into business, you can't serve everyone in the market that you're in. And for example, for us, we are into property management and property letting. There are market segments in that. And over time, I have crafted, for example, for property letting, we are mostly dealing with expatriates. And that has enabled us to know the areas to concentrate with. So even for my team, we are able to know this is the area we concentrate, and we are not stretched too much. That it has also helped to know that I needed to stick to one hustle. I know being Kenyans and glorifying side hustles, you feel like you want to be in doing a million things at any given time. To be honest, that didn't quite work for me. And I felt I'll just be stretched and nothing may work. So I said I'll stick to this one main hustle that surpasses 10 side hustles.
Over to you, Mucha. So definitely share with us, what is Mucha's story?
I did not have a clear vision and strategy when I started. As a matter of fact, I regularly say how I fell into what I do. I think God had mercy on me and realized that if He did not kind of push me against the wall, I would not find my purpose. And so I find myself pushed against the wall. What is my story? I don't know how much time I have, Sarah, because my story is a bit of a long one. I moved to Kenya in 2008. I'm not originally from Kenya. My husband was moved here with work. And when we relocated to Kenya, both of us in Kenya for the first time ever, I found myself obviously, at loose ends trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while because I had young children. When we moved here, actually, I was expecting our first son. My last job before we left the UK, which is where we moved from, I was working in the training department for an organization. So after, I think about 3 years of being here, 2.5 years of being here, I decided I wanted to start looking for options, and I started looking for work. And I was really disappointed, dismayed by the work that was available. Funnily enough, yesterday I was looking at LinkedIn, and LinkedIn sends you roles that are, I guess, similar to you. And it was interesting to me to see that, the kind of roles I was looking for then were the kind of roles that are being advertised now. When I was job hunting, so this was back in 2010, the roles of training were a really junior role. So training was a training officer, maybe a training manager. And I knew that I wasn't interested in doing a role that was that junior. I believe that training, people development should be a strategic role in an organization. It should be at the top levels of leadership so that you can steer the growth of the organization by steering the growth of the people. And so after finding that there was nothing that I really was interested in, nothing I felt tickled my fancy, and then also I'm a foreigner, so there were issues of having to get a work permit. I remember a friend just invited me to do some work for an organization where he worked, someone that I had gotten to know at church actually. And I'll never forget the first time I got paid for that assignment. And I felt to myself, wait a minute, hey, I could actually do this for a living, right? Why am I looking for a job? I could be a trainer and I could train. And so for me, I fell into the work that I do.
So to Rosemary, but tell us about Vintage Baby. I know for sure that you used to work and then started off Vintage Baby, but share with somebody here who is probably still working, or their sister is still working and thinking about business. And how did Rosemary make it between work and business? And then finally, I know today you're now full-time into your business. What is the story behind that? Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you, Sarah, for having me. Well, my name is Rosemary Mangi, like Sarah has said, and I am the founder and CEO of Vintage Baby. We are an iconic kids collection shop, and recently we went into, recently means a year and above ago, we went into bulk supplies to stop concentrating on retail to wholesale so that we would, of course, move the business to the next level. I have been an employee of two wonderful organizations. I worked for ESBC when I left school. That is, ESBC is Eden Square Business Center, a company that used to host upcoming investors in the country and just help them settle in the country as they are looking for spaces to settle eventually. And later I worked for Kenya Medical Association until last month when after 7 years I had to let go so that I can go and concentrate on my business, because I mean, where your money is, that is where your heart is. What made me venture into Vintage Baby? One, I have always dreamt of having a company that I could put in the structures that I have seen missing in the organizations that I have worked for. In an organization, you always learn two things. You either learn how to run a business or how not to run a business. And the gaps that you find there as an individual should always be the driving factor of you establishing something that can give or provide to the community what is not available in the market. And that is why I started Vintage Baby, so that I can put up structures that have always been missing into the organizations that I have worked for. Number two, when I got pregnant with my first child in the year 2015, I thought I would go into a shopping spree within Nairobi. And I have a deep passion for product research and marketing. But when I went there, I could not get what I wanted in terms of quality, in terms of pricing. And I keep saying, I think the external world probably has decided Kenya is a dumping site, which is quite unfortunate. And in my interest, I wanted to change the narrative. So what happened? I had a friend abroad, and I sent out for products and asked them to shop for my baby, for my baby. And when the products came, they were awesome, they were affordable, but I realized we cannot find them anywhere in Nairobi. And that gave birth to Vintage Baby. And I started bringing small stuff and putting them and selling first, of course, like anybody who starts a small business, especially in a business where you offering products, you first target is your friends and relatives, definitely, who really disappoint. And of course, I have walked that journey, getting products and selling to friends, and also getting getting products and selling to family. Some never pay up. There are, of course, friends who will walk the journey with you, but there are others who are not interested. They don't care. After all, your friends, and you can sacrifice. It's easier to sacrifice your business for friendship. And that is how later on I realized, like, the retail space was not going to work for me, because you end up with so many bad debts, and if you have to keep the friendship, you have to sacrifice your investment. So that pushed me to look for more business and see how I would turn into a bulk supplier.
And it's so important for us, honestly, to understand what our strengths are, I think. Yeah. And I talk as a coach, I always talk about the fulfillment needs. And it's so important to understand that we all differ when it comes to that. There are people who are fulfilled by stability. There are people who want to know that they know something. They live in one place. If you look at their life, they run between two colors in their wardrobe. It's either black or gray or white, and that's it. They are not so adventurous. They use the same route when they are going home. Yeah, they have that list. They start off a book from the beginning and they'll finish to the end. I have, I think, 16 of these, and sometimes I forget where my notes were. And you see, it depends on who you are. And I think that's something why we have a varied panel here. It helps us to really start understanding that there are different people out there as well. I would like to share with you a few perspectives in terms of looking at strategy as a woman. And okay, fantastic. I like to call them the new boss chick, and I see many of them here in Kenya. I see ladies who are starting things and starting businesses and having a vision to do something and whatever, and I think it is something very, very key for us. So one of the barriers that we are facing actually is shortage of funding. And Mucha, you know this because you work with women in different spaces. Yeah, you hear everybody's always saying access to finance. When I was doing my MBA in London, I used to hear this thing, access to finance, and I wonder, what does that mean? And so even though you have a great vision, you have a great idea, your business is growing, you need a team, you need more resources, you need a website, you need a what, shortage of funding is something that is real. And I said this session today, we are going to talk about real things. And then the psychological barrier against women, and allow me to say maybe African women. Oh my gosh. Every day working as a coach with fempreneurs, the biggest thing is around the psychological barriers that we have, and some of them are cultural barriers as well. People want us to run the business like we have no family, and people want us to run our family like we have no business. So if I'm sitting here today and probably I'm supposed, my day today ends at 3:30. I'm living here and I'm going to train another organization and another organization, and I'm working across different timelines in the world. UK, EMEA, I was busy looking in the morning, what is CET versus UTC versus, Kenyan time versus what? And so I'm seated at my desk the whole day. The children need some attention. I have 2 kids in university. I have a husband. I have, different things that are going on. How do you juggle that?